Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Chow Time Sports. I'm Chow.
I'm Pete, and this week we got a pretty good one for you. Last week was a little rough around the edges with Chow not being not able to take part in the show, but
Yep.
like I said last week, it must go on, and luckily he is back here for week 4. Glad to see him in better health,
Thank you.
Like I said, the show must go on. So without further ado, let's get right into it. First things first, Thursday night kickoff, we have the Detroit Lions heading into Green Bay. What do you think?
Give me the Detroit Lions, all right? Give me the Lions straight out and give me them minus half point, obviously. I think the Detroit Lions in the trenches on both sides of the ball, offensive line, defensive line, they look great. David Montgomery's out, but that's why they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs. That is why. He's going to come in this week, and I think he plays very well against this Packers defense, which is it's a good unit in itself, but I just don't see Green Bay's lackluster offense. I mean, they only won last week because Derek Carr went down with injury. I think Detroit rolls into Lambeau on Thursday night and gets the job done.
It's hard to go against Jared Goff in a primetime game. He's looked so good. I mean, quite evidently, every time he plays on primetime in Detroit, this Lions team looks good. But the Packers, they've looked pretty good. Jordan Love finally had his first turnover in week 3. Like that offense is legit. Christian Watson is back. Aaron Jones is going to be back. Their defense has been playing pretty well. They shut down the New Orleans Saints. I get it. Jameis Winston was playing quarterback, but they shut down that team in the second half, allowed no points, and pulled off an 18-point comeback. With that being said, I have to roll with Green Bay. I like Green Bay. I like Jordan Love. I'm now a believer in Jordan Love. I think he can be successful, especially with the weapons they're surrounding him with. Romeo Doubs looks good. Musgrave looks good, and I'm excited to see what he does with his deep threat back and Christian Watson.
Agree to disagree.
Moving on, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars hosting the Atlanta Falcons as 3.5-point favorites.
In London. This is a London
in
game.
In the London game, 9:30 a.m. for all of you East Coast folk.
Yep. Give me the Jags. They have not looked like themselves these past 2 weeks. Week 1, they look phenomenal. They looked like everything that we thought they were going to be in the offseason. These past 2 weeks, they kind of got beat up a little bit. Lost to Kansas City. I mean, Kansas City is Kansas City, but the way they lost, they just couldn't get anything going on offense. And that happened again against the Houston Texans, which I don't even know how that happened. Fair play to the Houston Texans, C.J. Stroud. You have my apologies because I was a doubter and I still am a doubter. But I think the Jags bring it back this week against the Falcons. Falcons defense, they got a good unit there, but I think their offense struggles. Which with Desmond Ridder, I don't think Bijan and Drake London can get the job done against Jacksonville.
I agree with just about everything you said there. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars kind of faltered out of the gate on Sunday against the Texans, and I think the Texans were really able to jump out there and throw the first punch and really set the Jaguars back and put them into that hole that they couldn't really climb out of. But that being said, I think Jacksonville is able to find themselves and collect themselves and put together a win here as the home team, sort of say, in a London game. But I think this game is close. I think Jacksonville wins outright, but give me the Falcons to cover 3.5. I think this game I think it does come down to less than a field goal. This game could very well be a 27-28, 23-24 game, but I like Jacksonville to win it outright.
I could see it. I could definitely see it.
Next up, this might be Chow's game of the week here. We got the Miami Dolphins, 3-0, still undefeated, fresh off of a 70-point showing against the Denver Broncos, going into Buffalo.
In Orchard Park this weekend, Sunday at 1. This is my game of the week. This is the game of the year, all right? Like, ladies and gentlemen, come on. This is the game of the year.
This very well could be the
Josh
game of
Allen
the year.
First, Tua turned the ball over and the boys over in Miami. Give me the Bills first off. I ride with the Bills no matter what. But besides the bias, I'm riding with the Bills -2.5. What the Dolphins did to the Broncos last week was ridiculous. All right, absolutely ridiculous. However, that's not going to happen again. I mean, 70 points in one game, that is not happening. And unlike the Broncos, the Bills have a good defense. I mean, we've played we've played them. We play them twice every year. We know what's happening. We know they got their deep threats. Jalen Waddle's coming back this week. But don't get it twisted, all right? The Bills are going to have a good game plan going in. They're not going to let anything explosive like that happen over the top. Raheem Mostert and their rookie running back, like, that's not happening. They're not rushing for 200 yards apiece or however much they did. That's just like, that's an anomaly. All right, that's not going to happen again this year, and you can put that on record. But Josh Allen and the boys are going to make work of these Dolphins, -2.5. That's a lock right there, and that's my game of the week.
You put up a very strong and compelling argument, but it's very hard to go against a team that is fresh off of a win margin of 50 points. They allowed 20 points and still won by 50. Just think of that. That's unreal. That's historic numbers. Your parents may not have been alive for the last time a game like that has been played. And with that being said, with that much momentum rolling into a divisional matchup, I just don't think there is a way that the Dolphins lose this game. I have to go with Tua, and they could have grocery store workers running the ball and catching the ball, and they'll find the end zone. The defense, even their second stringers at the end of the game. I mean, realistically, after halftime, they were probably benching their starters, and they were still slowing Russ down and everything. I like the Dolphins. The Bills have looked good in their past two games. I don't think they haven't had a real test since week 1 where they played the Jets and they lost. They've played two weak teams since then, and I think that they kind of run into a brick wall here with the Miami Dolphins. So with that being said, I have to take the Dolphins +2.5 and to take it outright.
It's not happening. Josh Allen is going to take it home. And let's make note of this. Dolphins have not played a real defense like all year, basically. I mean, they played the Chargers. The Chargers' defense is not good.
I would say that the Broncos
defense is not good. Like, let's not even get it twisted. The Broncos' defense is not good. You got a couple good players on that defensive side of the ball, like Pat Surtain and Randy Gregory, but like outside of that, nothing really. I mean, like, they played the Patriots. Patriots have, like, I would say, like a above average defense, and they held them to 24 points. That was a one-score game right there, and that was just with like a top 16 defense. The Bills are a top, debatably 5 defense in the league. So, give me the Bills. Josh Allen, let's get
Next up, if we can get back to our regularly scheduled program here, we have the 0-3 Denver Broncos heading into Chicago. Game of the week right here. This is going to be a good one.
Battle of the 0-3s.
The battle of the 0-3s. Somebody has to come out with a win here. Denver is favored by 3.5 in Chicago. I'll start us off here. I think Russ keeps getting cooked. I think Russ drops to 0-4. Justin Fields and crew finally find their bearings. I mean, their team has looked like complete and utter garbage, but I feel like this is a game where Justin Fields and crew can finally put a game plan together and execute and maybe finally scrape together an ugly, dirty win. I believe that this is the game to do it. Their defense might be able to hold down the Broncos when Justin Fields turns the ball over, when the running backs turn the ball over, when the ball ends up in Denver's hands. I wouldn't be concerned that they're scoring on every drive. I think that Chicago is going to have enough chances to stay in this game, and I believe that they might just have what it takes to get it done in a very ugly, slow game.
I would agree with almost everything you said, except give me the Broncos. I think the Bears are the worst team in the league. And I think Justin Fields, I was a believer. I still think he can turn things around, but something is not clicking with that offense. They're not getting the ball to their new number one, DJ Moore. The run game is seemingly non-existent without Justin Fields running the ball anymore. And their defense is lackluster. The defense cannot stop a nosebleed. They're maybe the worst defense in the league. As much as the Denver Broncos offense isn't that good, I can't see the Bears like doing anything in this game. I think it's a close game, like a low-scoring close game. But
I just
like,
think
I don't
that
think
this
it's
is the
happening.
game that Chicago throws everything they have at this Denver team, and they might be able to pull out a win just for their fans.
I like to hope. I like to think so because I do have DJ Moore on fantasy, and I would love to see it. But give me the Broncos minus 3.5. I think Russ cooks. I wouldn't say Russ cooks. I'd say Russ throws some food in the microwave and it gets heated up.
Next up, we have the 2-1 Ravens, formerly 2-0, defeated by yours truly, heading into Believe Land, where the Browns have to defend their home turf, standing at 2-1. The Ravens looked sloppy. They let Gardner Minshew and a very sad-looking Indianapolis Colts team strut on into Baltimore as 8.5-point underdogs and slap them. They took them to overtime. The defense clamped up and they were able to put it away. I don't think Baltimore recovers from that this week. I think Cleveland has found a decent running back in Jerome Ford. Definitely nothing compared to Nick Chubb. Nowhere near as good of a runner as Nick Chubb, but I think that he is a solid player, and I believe that the Cleveland Browns are able to advance to 3-1. I think Deshaun Watson might be able to finally get something going. It's week 4. Like it's you gotta either have it or you don't by this point, because if you keep losing games, it's gonna be bad. Your team, the Browns, they're in win now mode is what I'm believing. And I mean, after that loss to Nick Chubb, it's kind of tough to see what you want to do from there. But if you're Cleveland, you got this guy, you got your quarterback, you have your receivers. The defense is strong. It's just you gotta win this game here. You gotta win this divisional game. It's their 3rd divisional game of the year.
Crazy.
They're 1-1 in the division, and this is one that they have to win. I believe that Cleveland gets it done here. Give me Cleveland by 2.5.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I want to start out first by saying shout out Matt Gay. Matt Gay single-handedly won them the game. I think the Ravens were, like you said, just absolutely sloppy. I don't know what it is, why they're not clicking. I don't know if it's because J.K. Dobbins went down with an injury or anything like earlier in the year and he wasn't playing. But this Ravens team doesn't seem like they are 2-1, but they don't feel like they should be 2-1.
They don't look like it.
No, they don't look like a 2-1 team. They don't look like a team that should be favored to win the AFC North. And because of that, give me the Cleveland Browns minus 2.5. I mean, like, their defense looked great last week. They looked phenomenal. Myles Garrett put up 3.5 sacks on his own. And I think he continues that. I think he continues that. He definitely tallies a sack this week. And Deshaun Watson starting to put it together a little bit more. Amari Cooper having a good year. Jerome Ford, like, it's no Nick Chubb, like you said, but I think he definitely gets the job done. Like, he's definitely not hurting the team. And I agree.
He's definitely not slowing down that rushing attack, which is a good thing for Cleveland. They have a guy who's able to run the ball, and he doesn't have a turnover yet in 1.5 games, and he seems like a solid runner.
Yeah, I think Cleveland gets it done at home, minus 2.5.
Next up, we have the Cincinnati Bengals, favored by 2.5 heading into Tennessee.
I mean, I'll start this one off. I mean, first off, give me the Bengals minus 2.5. Not necessarily because the Bengals have looked great. Jamar Chase finally became Jamar Chase this past week. He finally put up the numbers that we'd expect him to. I'm taking the Cincinnati Bengals more so because the Titans have just looked bad. They've just been bad. That offense with Derrick Henry, the king, he's getting old. He's not able to do what he's done the past years.
He's not dribbling people off the turf anymore.
He's not dribbling people off the turf anymore. And DeAndre Hopkins, I mean, I haven't heard his name at all this year. He has not made that big of an impact for the Tennessee Titans, which Mike Vrabel was hoping he would. Yeah, and I just think I like the Bengals defense more. I think their defense is a way better unit than the Titans. I mean, Titans got Jeffrey Simmons, who's a great D tackle, and Kevin Byard there at safety, but I don't think that defense can hold Jamar Chase. I think that was his breakout game, and he's going to continue that dominance throughout the rest of the year. And I think T. Higgins starts to pick it up as well. I know he had that one big game, but
he had a big game and two not so great ones.
Right, but I think the Bengals offense starts to pick up a little more. It still might take a couple games to get it back in the swing of things, but give me the Bengals minus 2.5.
I also have to agree with that. Bengals by 2.5. I believe that Joe Burrow and crew have found the spark. They just got to keep it going, and I believe this is a game where they actually start rolling here, and they might absolutely blow out this Titans team. This game could be very ugly for the Titans. I just believe that this is a game that Joe Burrow and crew need to make a statement. They need to win big, and they need to get their morale up as a team. This is one that I believe that Joe Burrow and crew can get it done in.
Next up, we got the Los Angeles Rams at Indianapolis. The Rams are going into the game are underdogs, 1.5. And I'm gonna say it, Pete. Give me the Rams. Give me Matthew Stafford and the boys. Puka Nacua, Kyren Williams, Tutu Atwell. Give me the boys over the Colts. I think the Colts had a great. They showed a lot of heart last week. Matt Gay was the bright spot. You can't win every game with your kicker scoring all your points. I mean, it's not going to happen.
They found the end zone.
They found the end zone what, once?
One time.
One time. I mean, in the National Football League, you're not going to. All right, I'm not going to say you're not going to win the game by scoring only one touchdown, but chances are you're not going to win very many if you're only scoring one touchdown a game.
With your backup quarterback leading the squad, I believe that's all you need.
Better passer than Anthony Richardson. Just going to say it.
Then again, he has none of the rushing capabilities. I'm going to cut you off right there. I believe with Anthony Richardson coming back, the dual threat, I believe Anthony Richardson, I've been saying this to all my friends and everyone who knows me, Anthony Richardson is simply a better Lamar Jackson than Lamar Jackson, and he's soon to be a better Josh Allen than Josh Allen. I believe that Anthony Richardson is the answer to the Colts, the whole organization. He's the answer to their prayers. Once Jonathan Taylor gets back, that offense is going to be elite, and I cannot wait to see the Indianapolis Colts, that horseshoe, back on top 10 in the power rankings. They're coming back. This is a game that they're going to win. I believe that they're going to absolutely obliterate this Rams defense. They're not ready for Anthony Richardson. There's still not much that people know about Anthony Richardson. He's only played one game, and he got hurt and got pulled. So I believe that he's going to come in. He's going to throw a bunch of good passes. Michael Pittman's going to have another great game. He's had a good season so far. Josh Downs is looking like a great rookie. Their tight end, right. Kylan Granson, who even is that? But hey, he's having a good season too. Zach Moss, he's rushing. He's former Buffalo Bill. Now he's doing better as a Colt. It's love to see it.
Better online. I mean, you're gonna pick it up as a rusher. But,
so with that being said, give me the Colts outright by the 1.5. Give me the Colts by 6.5. Give me the Colts by 10. I think that I think Indianapolis really brings it to Matt Stafford and crew, and I think that this is one that they could really make a statement and take a lead in the AFC South. Everyone was hating on them. Everyone thought that they were the long shot to win the division, but here they are after 3 weeks. They're leading the division.
All right. On to the next game. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going into New Orleans as 3.5-point underdogs this week. This game, I'm torn on. Derek Carr is out for the foreseeable future. He is week to week, so he will not be playing this upcoming Sunday. However, Jameis Winston is stepping in, playing his former team. And it's not that I like Jameis Winston. I think the Saints get it done. And it's not because of the offense, although Alvin Kamara is coming back this week. He is having his debut for this season. I think it's the defense. For whatever reason, don't know what it is, but Marshawn Lattimore clamps Mike Evans every single game.
Let me
I don't
paint
know
you a
what it
picture
is.
here. Every time these two teams play, it's either a really high-scoring game or it's a very lopsided game in favor of New Orleans. Marshawn Lattimore gets in Mike Evans' head. He slows him down. They end up in a fight. Mike Evans gets ejected, and then the Saints proceed to blow them out of the water because the Buccaneers simply cannot move the ball. Even with Brady as the quarterback, the New Orleans Saints still had the answer. So with Baker Mayfield, I believe that the Saints still have the answer. I think the Saints move on to 3-1, and they simply breeze by the Buccaneers here. It's going to be, I think the Saints win a very simple game here, 27-17. I think this could be this game very well could get ugly for the Buccaneers.
I assume you're taking them minus 3.5.
Give me
then?
the Saints by 3.5.
Yeah, I would agree.
Next up, this game, really not much to be said. The 2-1 Commanders, they finally caught their first loss this week to the Bills heading into Philadelphia as 8.5-point underdogs.
That's a decent spread there.
Philadelphia did not look great against Tampa Bay, but then again, when you have such a high-powered offense, it's just no matter what you do, you're gonna be able to put points on the board with either your kicker or getting the ball in the end zone one way or another. With these Washington Commanders, they're gonna need to take advantage of every drive. I know it's a divisional game. The Commanders have looked pretty good so far until they ran into an actual defense in the Buffalo Bills. With that being said, I have to take the Philadelphia Eagles to win outright. And I think as hard as it is to take such a large margin with the divisional matchup, I think I have to take the Eagles with the 8.5 points.
Yeah, I'm taking the Eagles with the 8.5 points. I think it all comes down to that Washington front, their defensive line. If you can make their defensive line not a factor, then you see what happened last week. The Bills' O-line put on a clinic with that front, which was a top 3 line in the league. Some could argue best defensive line in the league.
Yeah.
And without that pass rush, their defense couldn't really do too much. And on top of that, Sam Howell is still growing. I mean, you saw what he did last week, 4 interceptions. He is not decisive with his decision-making.
I feel like that was a wake-up call for him. He finally faced a real defense, and it was like a welcome to the NFL moment for him. I still believe that he has the talent to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. I am a believer in Sam Howell. He is very talented, but I feel like he needed something like that. He needed that wake-up call. Every game wasn't going to be throwing 200 yards, a touchdown, and you're going to win. Like that's a game where you need to keep your composure, and you're going to need to actually play some good football if you want to win, and that's not what he did, and I believe now they're going to be able to move on from that as a better football team. But back-to-back games with Buffalo and then now Philadelphia, I just don't believe that this is a game that they can win. I think the Commanders fall to 2-2.
Yeah, I agree. Give me the Eagles minus 8.5.
Next up, we have the Minnesota Vikings, the winless Vikings heading into Carolina to face off against the winless Panthers. I don't know what's going on with this Vikings team. Kirk Cousins has not looked like himself. They just can't really seem to get anything going. Alexander Mattison is struggling. But with that being said, I don't think that this is a game that they can lose. I feel like the Minnesota Vikings, as rough around the edges that they have looked thus far, I just believe that this is a game that they will win and that they'll get their first win this week against the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, I agree. Give me Minnesota minus 3.5. The winless Vikings. I just don't see a reality where the Panthers win. Even with Bryce Young, I think with Bryce Young, they're a little more at a disadvantage being a rookie quarterback. I think the Vikings could take advantage of that. They could. I don't know. I just think the Vikings with Kirk Cousins, who's been playing exceptional this year. Let's not get that twisted. He's been playing exceptional, and Justin Jefferson, I think they torch that defense, and I don't think the Panthers' offense can keep up, even with the lackluster Vikings defense, minus Danielle Hunter, who's leading the league in sacks right now. But yeah, I think they just on defense they disguise some coverages, and I think they can definitely take advantage of the rookie quarterback there.
Yeah. Next up, I feel like this one, not much to be said here. It's just the Pittsburgh Steelers, 3.5-point favorites heading into Houston. Houston did just have a big win against
Jacksonville.
Against Jacksonville, yeah. But I believe that this Steelers defense might just be too much for C.J. Stroud and crew. He has looked good. He's looking very good as a passer. Dameon Pierce on the ground, he's doing all right. That defense is kind of coming together. But I just believe that I'm going to go with the more experienced quarterback, the better defense. I believe that this is a gritty game. I have to go with the Steelers minus 3.5. Give me Kenny Pickett, George Pickens, and I don't even know who Najee Harris is anymore. Jalen Warren runs the backfield. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I am torn between this game. I do not like the Steelers' offense. I like their defense. Houston, on the other hand, don't like their defense, and I don't really like their offense. However, I mean, I look at last week, and C.J. Stroud, he can sling it a little bit. He can sling the ball.
He can sling the rock.
But I think I'm going to have to take the Steelers. I think the defense gets it done. I don't think that offensive line can handle
T.J.
Watt and Cedric Highsmith.
And the wrecking crew that they got in Pittsburgh.
Cam Hayward. I don't think the Houston O-line is going to be able to hold up. And then along with that, on the back end, on the Steelers, I think their secondary is well matched for this Texans receiving core.
Yeah.
Minkah Fitzpatrick on the back end. I would agree with you. I like the more experienced team, the better defense, the more experienced quarterback. I like the Steelers outright and minus 3.5.
Next up, we have the Las Vegas Raiders heading into L.A. Short trip to take on the Chargers. Both teams are 1-2. I feel like the Chargers their record is a lot worse than they actually are. The Raiders, they've been playing like a 1-2 team. Jimmy G has looked okay.
Horrible, but
he's looked okay.
Not great.
Justin Herbert and crew, they finally won one, the nail biter.
Yep.
The Chargers, I like them. They just lost Mike Williams, but now this is time for Quentin Johnston to step up, Josh Palmer to step up, Gerald Everett, Donald Parham, or is that his name, Donald something?
I believe so. I think it is.
Parham or whatever the hell his name is. I believe that this game is something where they all can step up, and I believe that the Chargers are able to pretty much handle the Raiders here. And I'd have to say, give me the Chargers by the spread of 5.5. Although Devontae Adams has looked great on Sunday night,
phenomenal.
I just don't think that he alone is the answer to this Chargers offensive attack. But with that being said, I have to take the Chargers anyway.
Yeah, I think the Chargers get this one. They get it done, minus 5.5. I think they move to 2-2 on the season. Austin Eckler will hopefully be back this week, and I think that just adds another dimension to their offense, which they've been missing these past 2 weeks. Missing Eckler, who can run the ball, and he's great out of the backfield as a pass catcher. They did lose Mike Williams, like you said. However, I think Justin Herbert is incredible, and he can find his targets no matter who they are, whether it be Keenan Allen or Joshua Palmer or Eckler out of the backfield, any of that. I think this offense is just too high-powered for this Raiders defense, who doesn't – the defense has not looked very good this year. Besides Max Crosby is a dog. But outside of him, there's no one really that in my mind can stop this Chargers offense. So because of that reason, give me the Chargers minus 5.5.
Next up, we have the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, hosting the New England Patriots as 6.5-point favorites. Dak Prescott and crew hasn't looked phenomenal. Their defense, on the other hand, just allowed 28 points to the Arizona Cardinals. The Patriots, on the other hand, they have looked okay. The coaching, still one of the best coach teams in the league. I believe Dallas has what it takes to win this game. I don't think it's a big blowout or anything. I believe that it's give me the Cowboys to win, Patriots to cover, 6.5 point spread. I think that this game stays close, and I think the Cowboys are able to pull it away potentially late in the game.
Yeah, my thoughts exactly. I think the Cowboys do win this game, but I do also think that the Patriots are going to cover 6.5. I look at this Cowboys defense. Micah Parsons still doing Micah Parsons things, but they lost Trayvon Diggs. I think that was a big reason why they did lose to Arizona last week. They didn't have their solidified number one corner. The Patriots offense, though, isn't anything too explosive, nothing to really worry about. So I think the Patriots give it a good fight, and I think they do cover the spread of plus 6.5. But ultimately, I think the Cowboys do get the job done at home.
Next up, I feel like this is one where we're gonna agree on here. The San Francisco 49ers have looked like absolute machines on both sides of the ball. Doesn't matter who they play. Their offense is an absolute circus act. They're fun to watch. They put up 30 points on anybody any given week. This Cardinals team, they did just put up 28 points on one of the best defenses in the league, but I think that the San Francisco 49ers is going to be like running into a cement wall here. I feel like it's a pretty easy pick. Give me the 49ers with the spread 13.5. Give me the Niners by 20. Giving the Niners by 30.
Wow. I almost want to take the Cardinals at plus 13.5. I almost want to do it. I'm stuck. No. I can't bet against San Fran. San Fran's defense, offense, they look like a complete team. They look like a team that could go the distance. Brock Purdy still playing very well. He's doing what they're asking of him, and that's all he needs to do. He doesn't need to do anything special. He just needs to find his receivers, make smart decisions, and really just let the offense do its thing. Defense, I mean, they're still the best unit in the league, let's be honest. They are still the best unit in the league, led by Fred Warner. I think the Cardinals, they're coming in with some confidence, but I think that confidence gets squished this week. And
I think that confidence gets absolutely crushed this week. Don't get me wrong, James Conner might walk into the end zone, and this Cardinals team might put up 14 points, but it's not going to be anywhere near enough to keep up with the San Francisco offense here.
Give me San Fran minus 13.5.
Next up, we have the New York Jets hosting the Kansas City Chiefs as 9.5 point underdogs. The Kansas City Chiefs haven't looked great, in my opinion. They don't look like the Kansas City Chiefs. This game might be the game where they do, but give me the team who's 1-0 in primetime games. Give me the New York Jets plus 9.5. I think the Chiefs win. I have to say I think the Chiefs win, but I think the New York Jets cover. I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets won this game. I think it's very possible. I feel like this is a game where Zach Wilson might be able to find his targets, that Wilson-to-Wilson connection. I think that this is a game that the Jets very well could win, and with that being said, give me the Jets plus 9.5.
No. Kansas City is going to cover minus 9.5. They are going to win by 10 points or more. They manhandled the Bears last week. Granted, the Bears have an awful defense. The Jets have a good defense, top 5 defense in the league, but their offense cannot move the ball to save their lives. They're just going to keep giving the ball back to Patrick Mahomes, and he is going to put up points no matter what. It is Mahomes at the end of the day, the best quarterback in the league. I think they're starting to get back on track after last week, that blowout win. Kelsey's back, and they're gonna continue to dominate, and that's gonna continue this week when they go into MetLife and beat the Jets. Give me them minus 9.5.
Okay, we'll find out Sunday night. Next up, our final game of the week. The New York Giants are hosting the Seattle Seahawks. I really don't have much to say about this game. The Seattle Seahawks are an underdog heading into MetLife on Monday night. Why? I couldn't tell you. I feel like the Seattle team should be favored by 3.5 here. I like Seattle's been playing great lately. I like how Geno Smith has been looking. The receivers are looking great. Kenneth Walker has been an absolute machine. Saquon Barkley might not play. Daniel Jones hasn't looked great. If Saquon doesn't play, they have no running game. And I don't really know anyone on that receiving core that's going to be able to lead this team to a win on Monday night. With that being said, if Saquon Barkley's confirmed out and the line shifts, whatever it is, give me the Seahawks.
Yeah, I agree. I actually think this is kind of a wild line at Seahawks underdogs at 1.5.
Unless I'm missing something, unless Geno Smith isn't playing or something.
No,
but
I was wondering the same thing because I think that line is actually kind of crazy. That's like the lock of the week right there. Seahawks plus 1.5. I mean, I would take them. Well, I'd take the money line over that. Like the Seahawks,
give me the Seahawks.
Absolutely. The Giants have not looked great. No Saquon. I mean, the Seahawks offenses look great with Kenneth Walker, DK, Tyler Lockett, JSN is going to start getting more involved. I just don't see the Giants winning this game. I don't know why they are favored. I really don't. I know they're at home, but I'm actually mind blown right now. Give me Seattle plus 1.5. That's my lock of the week. Give me their money line. That's the lock of the week. Yeah, Seahawks all day long.
All right. With that being said, thank you guys for riding with us. This has been our Week 4 picks and predictions. We hope to see you all next week. And like previously said, thanks for tuning in. This has been Chow Time.